Hello and welcome to healthyhouseplants.com, where we teach you all about gardening in the great indoors. If you'd like to support our show, please use our Amazon affiliate link below. Today we're going to be talking about growing spike moss, this lovely plant here. There's 3 of them here right now. Also botanically known as Selaginella species. This is comes from a family of more than 700 species of mossy or fern-like seedless mosses that are in the Selaginella family, as mentioned. They're widely distributed in all parts of the world, particularly in the tropics. Many of them are forest plants. There's, as mentioned, many species, but the ones that are most commonly grown as houseplants are this guy here, known as spike moss. And they're admired, as you can see, for their decorative, branching, mossy-like foliage, which is really pretty. And they are fairly easy to grow indoors, providing that you give them what they need. And I'm going to go through what they need. Another mention here too is they are a great terrarium plant. They also do really well in the terrarium environment because of their cultivation needs. And these guys are going to be going into some terrariums that I'm going to be doing in some coming up videos here. So you will see them later. If you watch the videos on the terrariums, you will see them growing in those terrariums. Okay. So the lighting for spike moss, Selaginella. They're, as mentioned, they grow in various parts of the world, and a lot of times that is in the forest. So that being said, they don't do really well in very strong light indoors. You wouldn't want to put them in a really bright window, such as a western exposure window, because they will burn. The delicate foliage will burn if you do that. It's good though, however, to put them in an eastern window. A southern window may work too. Just keep an eye on the foliage so it doesn't get too bright. Northern windows are not bright enough, however, so if you only have northern window or you only have dim conditions, do get some full spectrum light bulbs, put them in nearby fixtures, and they stimulate daylight, so those full spectrum lighting will do a really good job in keeping your Selaginella really happy and healthy. So definitely focus on that lighting for them. Watering them. They do like to have damp but not wet soil. So you don't want them to dry out. You do want the soil on the moist side. On the moisture meter, you would want to water when they're in the around 4 or 5. You definitely don't want to get in the red zone with dry with these guys. However, don't go overboard and overwater so they're always constantly very, very soggy, because that will lead to root rot. Just provide that nice, even moisture for them. Always also use warm water when you water them. They do like things to be on the warm side. So, and generally speaking, it's best to water all houseplants with warm water, but these guys in particular will not do well with constantly being watered with cold water. In your home, in terms of temperature, you want the temperature not to fall below 55, 60 degrees with these guys, or they're not going to do well. Best to, if you can get in between the 60 to 80 range, which is not too difficult for most houses. Obviously in your warmer months it'll be warmer, in your cooler months it'll be cooler, but as long as you don't get too cold with them, because they are a lot of times from the tropics, so they would be not happy with you if it was very, very cool in your house. Humidity. They love humidity. The foliage dries out very easily, as mentioned, so the humidity is very important for these plants. That's why they do so well in covered terrariums. There are different types of terrariums, but covered terrariums keep in the moisture, keep in the humidity, and they thrive in those conditions, providing the lighting is good. So if you aren't going to be putting them in a terrarium, do boost the humidity as much as possible. I have videos on boosting humidity. Some ways to boost humidity is to group plants, because plants will humidify each other. So these plants are right now humidifying each other as we visit with them right now. You can also put them on humidity trays. If you live in a very dry climate and you already use a humidifier, you can put them near the humidifier to humidify them as well. Misting will humidify them, but only for a very short time. I do have a video on the benefits of misting, one of them being temporary humidity for the plant, but there are other reasons as well. But you wouldn't want to just mist them, because that wouldn't be enough for them. So as much humidity as you can provide them, especially if you live in a dry climate. If you live in a more humid climate, they're going to thrive probably no matter what you do in terms of humidity. So keep that in mind as well. But very dry climates, the Southwest in the United States, for instance, they're going to need some extra humidity from you. Or put them in a terrarium, which is a really nice way to completely humidify them. And they look really pretty too. They're fairly slow growers. They're not very quick growers, which is another reason why they're often used in terrariums as well. In terms of nutrition, you want to feed them only about 2 to 3 times a year. Use an organic houseplant food. I do have one, my Green Gourmet houseplant food, which I'll put the link for below for them. It works really well on them. It's an organic, so it gives them a really nice, gentle fertilization. If you are using other fertilizers, I would suggest using them at half strength so you don't burn the roots, which can be tender. So as mentioned, any problems you might have with these plants, browning leaves is generally speaking an indication of the plant being in somewhat shock. It could be from cold water, it could be from too high of a light, it could be from too much moisture. So if you're starting to see brown leaves, go through the checklist and figure out what the problem is before the plant goes downhill completely. The sooner you react and deal with the situation and rectify it, the better. The air movement, another thing to keep in mind. So drafty conditions, these plants are not really well suited to be sitting near a doorway, especially a doorway to outdoors where a cold draft keeps coming in. So reposition them into another location if you have them in that location, especially if they start to do badly. You can prune them back, pinching them back gently when needed, but as mentioned, they do tend to grow fairly slow, but when they do tend to start spiking, you can pinch that back. That will make them grow more bushy for you, and they will look even prettier for you. Well, that is it for spike moss. Thank you for stopping by today. Please leave any comments about any indoor gardening tutorials you'd like to see. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video. And please check the bell if you'd like to be notified when new videos are released.